Hello everyone, it's Mr. Economics here, and today we're going to be doing a bit of a pirate software-esque thing with drawing on the black background with a white marker. I'm going to be talking in a deep voice and acting like I know everything about game design or whatever, even though I don't design games. And we're going to be talking about inflation, and not that kind. If Pyrocynical is watching, we're going to be talking about economic inflation, and specifically how economic inflation in Path of Exile 2 has sort of depreciated my love for the game right now, and I'm taking a break until they can do a full economic reset. Now, if you have not heard about Path of Exile 2, it's a great game. It is definitely going to be the best game in the genre since Diablo 2, which is a game it's very much like if you don't know what the game is, and it has a long way to grow, but I really do trust the devs behind it, and I trust that they will do an economic reset to the game. And if you want to get into playing it right now, I would really recommend that you play solo self-found League. That means that you're basically playing single player, like way back in the day. You can't trade with other characters, you can't buy power, all that stuff is off the table, so you're really just kind of left to your own devices. And the game is really well balanced around that. It's very fun to not have to worry about am I making enough currency per hour? But I choose to torture myself, and I play on Softcore Trade League, which means my character cannot permanently die, and I can trade with other players. And that trading with other players is both a blessing and a curse, because while that means you can get way more power, it means that the value of your character is basically comes down to how much money you can generate per unit of time. So let's tell you the example of what has happened to the economy here. Well, just to start this example off, this is my house. This is representative of all of the gear that my character currently has equipped. And it's modest. You need a house or a place to live, right? So you need this to play the game. So I invested most of my early money into purchasing this house. And this house has gotten me through some times, some thick and thin. It doesn't mean that I want to stay in this house forever, though. I was saving my money because I wanted to purchase a larger house. There's a better set of gear that I had my eye on. These are chase upgrades. They're ones that I knew I was going to have to play for a good number of hours, probably a couple 50 hours or so to get some of this gear, just even one piece, because it's that expensive, but it has good results, and I wanted to feel that power. I wanted to feel good about being in that new big shiny house. Well, in order to get this new house, I was saving my money, because you have like a character bank. And I was saving, as many players do, in two primary ways. And this is my first mistake. And I know if you're an economics major or just a fucking Path of Exile major, you're going to call me a dumbass here, but fuck you. This is what most normal players do. I'm a pretty hardcore casual, but most players keep their currencies in these two forms, in what's called Exalted Orbs and Divine Orbs. And just to break it down for you, Exalted Orbs, early in the league, are the way that most players trade for goods and services, because Exalted Orbs are common enough that players can get a good number of them, so you can have like a small incrementation, right? You could say this is worth 7 and this is worth 10. Divine Orbs are worth so much more than that many players, one, are not trading items that are that valuable, and two, they just don't have that many in circulation. So if you had a person who is like, okay, I've got this thing and it's worth like 200 Exalted Orbs or 5 Divine Orbs, it's going to be much more common early in the game for players to have those 200 Exalted Orbs on hand than 5 Divine Orbs. So the other thing that makes Exalted Orbs much more desirable in the early game is because they are the expected currency. They are like the US dollar, more or less. They are what's called a fiat currency, more or less. They are the currency that holds value because of the social value that it has to everyone. So because when I'm going to buy my gear, I know that I am going to be expected to pay in Exalted Orbs, When I sell my other things that I find, I sell them for a profit in exalted orbs. I don't sell them for cartographers' chisels or whatever. I sell them for exalted orbs because I know that is the one that's going to hold the most value to the most people. And that's what a fiat currency is. It's a currency that's not backed by any actual monetary value. For instance, people think that the US dollar is backed by like gold value or something, but the gold standard ended in 1971. It is a fiat currency, and it's just based on everyone agreeing socially that this currency is valuable for trade. It's a good one to trade with. So this is the fiat currency early on in the league, and then what happens over time is it shifts to being a divine orb fiat currency, and that has negative effects on players like me, which we'll talk about in a second. But let's get back to our example over here. So what was happening was I was playing for the first week or two, and I was saving up to purchase this bigger house, and I was saving most of my money in exalted orbs because that's what drops most commonly. I had a few divine orbs, and I think my ratio was like 1,200 exalted orbs, and I had about 4 divine orbs to my name, because most of the divine orbs that I'd gotten I had to use to purchase some really expensive gear. So I had a pretty nice house, but I needed some more currency to get this, and so I was saving up, and I made the mistake of not diversifying my investments. What I should have been doing is taking these exalted orbs and buying some divine orbs, taking them and buying other things that are of value, because over time, exalted orbs do tend to lose a little bit of value, and I thought that was fine. I didn't know how much value they would lose, though. Earlier in the league, the ratio was about 10 to 1, very early, like the first day or two. You could buy a divine orb for about 10 exalted. Then after about a week to 2 weeks, it was 80 to 1. And this is when players started to be like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. Like, you can probably go Google, like, Path of Exile 2 inflation. You'll see videos with people being like, Macaulay Culkin's shocked face with 80 to 1 ratio on the thumbnail. And now, would you like to guess? Go ahead and type your comment down below and guess, and like and subscribe and stuff too. It's 270 to 1 last time I checked. So what happened was 0.1.1 came out, this update. And this update made these two currencies drop way more commonly. It was more or less, right? Now, exalted orbs got multiplied a lot. Like, you see a ton of these things now. And divine orbs also went up, but you could only really get more divine orbs if you're a player who is already in the know. If you already have your infrastructure set up for grinding for divine orbs, because they like to drop in like super high rarity, super high quantity maps. So players who already had a lot of money to invest in generating these orbs and are playing in groups and all that sort of stuff to really squeeze the game and generate more of these more valuable orbs here, they are now able to make even more of these. So this has a double whammy effect, and it really bent me over backwards and fucked me good. Because what happened at the same time was, say this house was 10 divine before. This extra nice piece of gear that I was grinding for was 10 divine before. Well, I had 4 divine in my name. I had 1,200 exalts. If you look at the ratio over here, 1,200 divided by 80, 1,200 divided by 80, thank you, calculator, that's 15. Right, so I had 15 divine orbs in exalts, but when the ratio went to 270, I have 4.44 repeating, of course. So I lost just under 75% of my value in like a couple of nights, because I wasn't playing and I didn't anticipate this patch to do this. So I logged back in and I went to be like, oh, well, I'm gonna go try to purchase things now. And I went to convert some of my many exalts to divines, and I went, what the fuck? what happened? And then I went to look at the price of the house that I wanted to buy. And what had happened in the meantime is that everybody that has now realized that, hey, we can print so many more of these currencies. Well, these are the people that own the houses. These are the landlords. So the landlords have decided now that, hey, I can make 10 div in like, you know, an hour. I want more than that for this really, really nice house that I have. I want 50 div. And so at the same time that my measly, like, decent build with some small life savings, and I was working my way towards this gear, at the same time that was just like truncated and made next to worthless overnight, the valuation of the things that are the hardest for me to get, the things that were already kind of far away, has gone up and up and up. And things that you need to progress the game have gone up and up and up. And it's to the point where, like, you have to employ pretty specific strategies to get a lot of divine orbs specifically. And the other currency that commonly drops is exalted orbs, and those are next to worthless. So you're walking around and you're just ignoring the things that are on the ground because, like, that's just not going to be worth anything. And if you're playing like a normal player you can play for hours now and really make like no money at all, and that really, really is kind of defeating. I like to liken this, and this is where I'll wrap up, I swear, I like to liken this to like real life, which is, I'm certain that a lot of you have been in that transitory period in the last few years where you're looking to leave living in an apartment and move into a new house, and you've probably had some money saved up, right? You probably have been working and saving money and like, oh, I'm gonna make a down payment on a house, and then you've watched the last, like, I want to say, like, it's really been mostly in like the last 7 years, I want to say, that the prices of housing have gone up and up and up and up and up, and the interest rates have gone up and up and up, and it's just getting more and more out of reach. So like, you had $10,000 saved, and that house, you were going to put that down payment on that $100,000 house, and you're like, okay, that's decent, I'll do it when I have 20,000. And then you got to like 18,000, and you were like, okay, let's go check that listing on Zillow. And you go over there and you check, and the house is now $250,000. And that's like no joke. Like, that is the rate at which, housing costs have increased in this country. And the same thing has happened in Path of Exile. But I hate to make this a political soapbox, but yeah, housing costs could be a lot better. Anyway, guys, that is it for me. I hope you have had fun with Path of Exile if you are playing it, and I'll see you very soon. I'll definitely get back into the game as soon as that economic reset hits. But until then, I might be playing some Chaos Wastes. We'll see. All right, I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you very soon. Mystery out. Bye.